In the previous video, what we did was like we created an employee object using a Hibernate or Spring Data JPA and saved this through JPA repository interface using inside this run method, which is executed every time whenever you run your Spring Boot application. So remember this, whenever you stop it and rerun it, the same employee object will be saved. So this is for like hardcore testing purpose only. For your you need to learn before you can create APIs. For this level, I am using this. So now what we will do is we will create one asset table similarly to this employee table, but the difference will be this asset table will be linked to this employee table. Like one employee will have one laptop, like kind of a thing. You can like understand the scenario. Like one employee in your company might have will be assigned only one laptop at a time. This is the scenario here. You can understand from one-to-one relationship means one laptop will be assigned to one particular employee, and one employee will be having one laptop only. Okay. So let's redo the things that we did for at table name is equal to assets. Assets. Okay. Now create the primary key. I have already written those properties, so let's reuse them to stop waste the time. Now again what we will do is we will create the getters and setters. Alt insert is the shortcut key for generating constructor. Control A, create the all argument constructor first. Now let's create the no argument constructor, and remember, do not worry, I'm just creating it from scratch. So next time, from next videos onwards, I will keep on upgrading these things. So here you are creating getters and setters and constructor. After some time we will not be creating, we will be using Lombok for this. Sert generate getters and setters, control A. And this is a POJO object which was converted to database table using these two annotations at entity mostly. Now, as in the previous video I told you, Hibernate or Data JPA forces you to give a unique identifier of your table. In case when we create tables inside our MySQL workbench or MySQL server, you don't need to, it is not mandatory to give, but here Hibernate or Spring Boot will force you to give one primary key. So let's satisfy those dependency at id, which is for giving the primary key value, generated value strategy is equal to generation type dot auto. Here I will on after this auto identity, there are many types. In later videos I will explain you the uses of this. So here now it is looking good. This part is done. Now similarly for employee repository, we created an employee repository, employee table is having one employee repository interface. For similarly for assets, we will be having one asset repository. Extends JPA repository. Here the name of the entity class, which is assets, comma integer. Now go to this class. We haven't marked this as a repository. Okay, we did. Okay, now come here again. Now comment these things. Now we will be creating one asset object. Assets equal to new of assets. Assets dot set laptop name Lenovo 121 is the serial laptop name. Assets dot set laptop ID 123 ACTS, some random thing I am giving here. Don't worry about this. Set laptop name set not set user ID. Here you can see I have also mentioned this employee object. In later of this section of this video, I will be establishing the relationship. So do not worry. I'm just trying to do the same thing that we did with in the previous video. So to save this object, we will be needing our repository for assets. Assets repository, assets repository. It's repository dot save assets. Now, in the previous part, we displayed you the tables. By refreshing it, you can see inside this table, you were having only employee table. But now, when I rerun this project, there will be one assets table also, along with the asset sequence. Like similarly to this table, this is for like sequence generation. Do not consider this. This is not like relevant to your learning up to now. So main table is employee. So now again, there will be one more table, assets table, along with asset sequence, something like that. So as I already told you, whenever you rerun, this method again will be called. So that's why I've commented this. So now stop this, control F2 for stopping it, for stopping the application, for rerunning, shift F10 again. Now it is rerunning again. Oh, one error came. Could not edit that for employee. So for now, let's remove this employee for now only. Later I will show you why we were using this. So comment this getters and setters also. Now let's rerun again. Shift F10. Do not worry, I will create a relationship between assets and employee in this video only. So let's just hang back a little bit. Now you can see is we have created the assets table here inside the logs, and we have inserted into the assets table also. So let's check into the database whether the table is created or not. Refresh this. Look, assets table is created. Now select star from assets. Look, it is inserted. So now the step is okay, but now what I need to do is create a relationship between assets and employee table. What I will do is first, like what the flow we are talking about is first the employee will be there, then the assets record will be created. Why? Because the first employee is there, then the assets or your laptop is assigned to you. So first we need to create an employee object, and the assets table will be having the laptop ID, laptop name, and it will be having a foreign key column which will be having the employee ID, kind of like here. Inside this, there will be one more column inside our assets table which will be employee ID. Okay, so now let's create. So now I will create one Bidirectional relationship between assets and employee table. Private, this is employee class, assets, assets. I'm uncommenting everything that I commented earlier. At, here again at 1 to 1. Okay, here we will using join column. So join column is used where your foreign key column will be used. Like along with the asset table, we will be having one employee ID column. So on that particular entity class, you should be using join column. Okay, okay, join column. Okay, let's see. What I'm okay. And the property name is name. The name I will tell you later. Here at 1 to 1 annotation where I have put. Okay, I have not put, I think. At 1 to 1. Okay. So now the relationship is like kind of a 1 to 1. Here, okay, one property is map by. Sometimes you forgot the things, so you can do it by Googling, but I have already rewritten those things which I needed for this lesson. Map by and cascade is equal to cascade type. Later I will show you this cascade, the meaning of why we are using this property. Name is here. What you will do is name join column means the name that you want to give. So here we are using assets. Maybe assets or what? Yeah, assets. Okay. Map by. Why you are using here map by? Because you need to define the relationship. Like assets will be having uh, the column for employee, like having employee ID, but for two directional relationship or bidirectional relationship you should be using employee here. By simply means what it is linked to. Here the relationship is through employee, so you are using employee here. Okay, and here what you have used is assets, and that's why you have used assets. The spelling I think is incorrect, so let's assets, and the source code will be provided to you, don't not worry. Assets, I think. Okay, now it is looking good. One thing is cascade type. This I will explain here only later. Okay, now if any error comes we will resolve that, but up to now I think everything looks good. One thing I need to create one, remove this constructor because it is not having the property that I've now created. So alt insert for creating the constructor, all are constructor. Okay, created, and the getter setter for the employee object, sorry, the assets object property, alt insert getter and setter. Okay, created. Similarly for coming inside this assets, I think it is already their employee. Yeah, so everything looks good up to now. So now what we will do is, first I will create an employee object. Okay, Then I will save that employee object, and then let's create our service layer only. Oh, okay. So for this video, I think this is enough. I should show you the relationship, how the relationship it's created in next video. I will do some database related operations in this relationship between these two tables, like first create employee, then create an asset object and assign the employee object to that. So later part. So for to show you this, I am dropping these tables, drop assets. Okay. Sometimes it will not allow you to delete because it might be some relationship. For that thing, you can use this command. And then if you want to reagain, use this, set it back, and you can use this. I have dropped those tables. So again, if I show you the tables, no tables. These are only for like sequence generation. So let us remove these tables also. Drop table asset underscore sequential. Drop table assets underscore sequential. So again, show tables. Oh, one table is there, so I have reused the. It should be employee. Suppose if you are using and like first time, then if you are deleting, then you should use this command use, because you need to select a database before using any operations on its table. Okay, so now let's go into our Spring Boot application. To stop this, what is the shortcuts? Control F2 in IntelliJ and Shift F1 to rerun again. I will explain you the cascade types and the relationship, how it is maintained in the later video. This is like how to visualize our table and how we have established the relationship. Look, the logs you can see primary key ID. Look here, it is adding foreign key here. Foreign key assets reference by employee ID. Okay, this is the SQL query you can see here. Now go to our database, refresh. You can see 4 tables. Now look at the structure. Select star from employee. Here, this is the assets table. I think there is one mistake here. I think there is one mistake here. One thing that we did not wrong, that was correct. Here we did not like it is not looking correct is in the assets table we should have named this as employee ID, whereas we have named this as assets. So now let's go back to the assets. It is incorrect for me to say here, it should be employee ID. Okay, and why we have maintained this column, because here it should be in the assets table, it should show the employee ID, the employee person who is possessing this current laptop. So now why we have maintained this relationship, map by, because this is mapped by this employee object, this employee you can see, and here we are just naming this add by using adjoin column. So that's why you need to here use by map by, and how you should remember on which relationship you should be using map by. Map by is used on the table, reverse of the table, where your foreign key is used. Suppose for example, in our case, foreign key is in the assets table, which is employee ID. So map by will be used here, and the value name will be the property which is mentioned here. So again, I'm iterating this. Map by is used on the reverse side of the relationship where the like foreign key is used. Foreign key column will appear here having the employee ID name. So map by will be used here. Okay. Cascade type I will show you in the later video. So let's drop the database again to name, or you can use drop table also. Let's drop the table only. Let's drop the database, so it should create from the get-go. Drop database. Okay, now let's create the database, okay. Now use YouTube. Now let's run our Spring Boot app. Suppose if I'm giving you some incorrect information, please forgive me, because this is also for me a learning, and I'm giving you my knowledge here. So sometimes I will do mistake, and if it is still persisted, I will correct and edit the video, or like something. I will provide you the correct solution for it. So now let's stop it. Control F2 for stopping, Shift F10 for rerunning. Now let's stay back. Because of this error, like this property that I was showing you, I got to understand here the join column means the name of the column, and met by is the property by which the relationship is maintained. Okay, is it done? Let's hope there is no error. I think, yeah, it is started. As you can see, started. Now let's go to the database, refresh it again. Tables, inside tables are there. Let's see first the employee table is there. We have not inserted an record. In later video I will show you. And just look, now it is employee ID. So what in next video we will do is, we will first create an employee object, then we will create one asset object, and then assign that already created employee object to the asset object, which is the primary key of the employee object. So thanks for this video.